Unreal is amazing. It does so much for you. There's a few things that are so simple though that blow my mind. Like this, I just want to play this animation backwards, and I'm not able to figure it out. So like originally, I have this open animation, and so we have a situation where an entity spawns. It's this little puck here, and we can open it. So you saw how it opened. Now when I click off, I want it to play a close animation, but I can't get that to happen. So when I was looking around in forms, there's not a way to reverse this. Like I saw some things like set animation data. Where is it? So set animation data, which doesn't let you. You can set the play rate to -1, but that doesn't really. It doesn't do it. It doesn't do anything. There's also, if you disable this context here, you can see. Should I have to find these nodes again? I shouldn't have erased it. All right, so there's play reverse, but they're not like this the right entity type. And so this is for a user widget, which I've done this before in um, the blueprint widgets. Like, let me look at one here. So here we have animations, and you can just set the play mode to forward or reverse, but this is only good for user widgets. So there isn't anything equivalent to this in for the skeletal animations. And so there's a set play rate. A lot of people will say just set the play rate to reverse. Let me see, let me turn this context back on. So you can set this and do -1. That doesn't do it. So what I did, I'm showing a bunch of things that did not work, which, let me see, animation, override animation data, that's what it's called. So I tried doing this one as well. So setting the play rate to -1, both before and after, altering the position by getting, which this may not be the right thing, but getting the play length and trying to set it up as reverse. So I tried doing all these things before playing the animation or even after playing it, trying to set that stuff up. None of this, it doesn't do the trick. So the only thing that I could find that seemed consistent was you basically create another animation asset. So first thing I tried to do is duplicate this. So I copied it, and then we have the second version. Came in here and set the rate scale to -1. So this is the, how do I play this? This is the regular animation. So setting it to -1, and now it's just like in reverse, but that also doesn't work. So like even creating this here doesn't do the trick. And so let me see, go back to that blueprint. So close animation, we have this guy, and we have the animation selected here. And so if we try and play this, I thought it would play in reverse, but it doesn't. It just snaps shut. So my guess is that it doesn't understand the play rate or the start time, and so you have to somehow manipulate the start time to be at the end so that it can then rewind, is my guess. Um, I don't know. I can try doing it with looping and see if it even works in reverse, but that might be the issue, and I have no way to really set that. Like I don't know how to do that. Yeah, so here in reverse, but it doesn't really help. So, and it doesn't even look like it's playing in reverse anyways. So, okay. So what I'm going to do instead of trying to like fight with this is I'm just going to make another animation in Houdini. So here is the vaporgram, and this is the kind of the first model that I get skeletal animations working in Unreal from Houdini. And so I had to experiment with a bunch of things. This one's kind of using some old techniques, but it still works. So what I'm going to do is, I guess I can walk through this for a second. Um, a lot of this isn't hyper relevant. On the Goose video, I go over an improved version of this, but once we get the packed parts, then we will, there's a skeleton somewhere. Here it is, yeah, over here. So we create a skeleton, which maybe can be viewed. Okay, so we have a very simple skeleton. We don't really need much for this model. We're just going to slide a couple of things and rotate the needle. Like there's not a lot of parts, so it's really basic. So we have the skeleton, and it will capture the pack geo, and then we use this guy to do bone deforms. And so we'll take the skeletal data here, and then I'll mess with the, what is it? I don't even know if we need that. What is this passing through? It's passing the skeletal data, but I don't really know why. Oh, I guess we're animating these. Oh, okay, yeah, that's right. We're animating the skeleton, of course, yeah. So we're animating the skeleton, and then we then do the bone deform, which then messes with the geometry, right? Okay, so there's a number of animations here, and we automate the export of these. So there's a few inputs in here that'll get uh, automated with a top net. So we have this top net, and it's got this set animation index, and so we have a wedge count that it pulls from the channel of animation count. So you come up here, and where is it? Animation count. So you can like add one, for example, and then you can, actually I don't think this is on it. It's just it doesn't know about the animation count, but this is used for the automation, so it knows when to stop. So we can switch to ID 3. Come back in here. There isn't an ID 3, and it'll complain. But then I think it defaults to the latest one. So, there's that. So we have this slide open. I'm just going to copy it and paste it because I just need to literally invert this. And I thought that, like in Unity, you can use the same animation and just invert it. Oh, no, that's going to break stuff. There we go. So that should hopefully clear it up. Okay, so then we just change this to slide close, and then I'll invert the math. So come back here, or even here. And are you going to give me, let's look at it with the, over here. All right, so here's our motion. It's funny this is like rotating so crazily. I think the cap is 30. So even though in Houdini you can go beyond it, you see how this rotates beyond, like keeps going. But actually we cut it off here, so it just stops at 30. Okay, so now I just need to invert this little formula here. Let's see if I can remember this on the fly. So we are multiplying and binding it. So I have to remember what this clamp function does. Between -2, it's translating the puck left, which is this guy. Puck left is going to be this half moon shape. And it's translating it out, and it should cap it. So that's what the clamp does. It stops it from going beyond this threshold here. All right, so there's that one. So we don't care about that guy right now. Then there's Jade Needle. So the needle, it's just probably got like a linear formula there. So it's got -87. So we put it at an offset, and then we're animating it out, and it just keeps going plus this number here. So it's not really, it's not bounded, but that's okay. All right. So now what we want to do is invert this. So on frame 30, we want it to be closed. And so I think if we just remove this, what was that, -87, I think? Try inverting it. Plus, so now it's facing probably the other way. You need to see this better. You can't see on that side because that's a solid. Okay. Might just be better off starting over because I can't process my head times 87. Let's just see what your default is at. Oh, yeah, it doesn't work. Hold on. 0. Okay, so that's the default. So at frame 30, that's kind of what I want. I want it to be here. And then I want it to go back into this sleeping position. So let me see. This, we're not using keyframes, but I am just, so 87, let's try -87, which, okay. So yeah, we should be able to get it to go -87. So we want it to go to -87, but we need to interpolate it linearly using the frame. And so we know that there's 30 frames, so I think is it this direction? Is that the right symbol for divide? I hope that's the right symbol. Sometimes I get them mixed up. They get the slashes mixed up. Okay. So yeah, that should work. So there's also an issue with like an offset there because of this isn't 0. Like on frame 1, it's not. I don't think it's 0, or it is 0, so it acts funky. Let me see if we can. Sometimes you can click. Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, see how it's not 0. That. All right. So the reason why this isn't 0 because frame starts at 1 in Houdini, so we can balance it out to 0, so -1 here. So it'll only ever reach 29. It will never actually reach that full value, so it won't ever fully interpolate. But at least starting out, it won't like flick, which in this tiny little animation doesn't matter as much, but sometimes it matters depending on what it's doing. And so, especially in a looping animation, which this one isn't, but in a looping animation, usually you have to do corrections like that. Okay, so that gets the needle, and so now we want to reverse the other puck thing sliding out. So this is, let's see, let's look at it. So it's at 1, we want it to go to 0, and so at 30 it's going to this negative 0.2. So we can see that this is clamping at negative 0.2, 0, and I think this clamp is fine. And what we want to do, I think, is maybe multiply this times 0.2 instead, and that should work. Let me see. No, that does not work. Okay, what is it doing? I think it's just clamping at 0. Okay, so let me see. I'm trying to think about this. So we're at 1. We need it to be all the way stretched out. So we could do an offset. 0.2. So we start at 0.2, negative 0.2. And we were going to add, so right now it's like, yeah, it's extending further. So now we wanted to do a subtraction instead. I think that's the lower boundary. So we need to make this positive. Clamp, is it clamp min max? Clamp value, oh, weird, wait a minute. It says clamp value minimum maximum, and then we're changing the maximum here. Okay. Normally, normally you put your formula in the value. Not sure why I put it over there. Sometimes you get in a flow and then it's just like making whatever comes to mind and whatever works. So I don't know, I'm just going to start over. So I don't remember what I was doing. So here's 0.2. We want it to roll back. And so we linearly want to interpolate it to 0. And so this value we're just going to do plus 0.2. But then that's immediate. So to interpolate, we're going to multiply times the frame, which we already learned earlier, the -1 to get it at 0. And then multiply times 0.2. And oh my gosh. What happened? Teleported. Whoa. Okay, so that's moving, but way too far, so I got my number wrong. Times, divide by 30 for the number of frames. So this is going to produce a value between 0 and 1. So that's our interpolation, which is just a simple linear interpolation. And then we're going to take that and multiply it times 0.2. And that should get us our bound. There you go. Cool. So now we have our reverse animation. So here's frame 1 with it already open. Oops. Yeah, here's frame 1 where it's already open, and then there is it closed, which should be the same as the idle or, the starting position for open. And that's it. So we can click the little export button over here. Actually, there's a button for this. Is it cook output node? Save and continue. Alright, so this is I love this. This is what makes Houdini shine. So let me go to the work folder and check it out. See where it's exporting. Oh, so there's one annoying, oh gosh, yeah, there's a really annoying thing with the latest Houdini, like ever since Houdini 19, is that it keeps opening up these licensing server pages over and over again for each top net, and that's new. It used to not do that. It's really agitating. So if I'm like researching something or watching a video or whatever, it keeps opening these up for every top net. It just keeps spitting these open. So that's a really, I don't know how to fix that. I've like tried to look it up. The license server stopped working. I tried fixing it and it didn't work. So whatever, I just kind of deal with it now. But it used to not do that. It used to just work. But anyway, so now it's done. Kind of disrupts my machine for a little bit. And so now we have our A vaporgram 0, A vaporgram 1, A vaporgram 2, and so this would be the animation. So I don't have a lookup to set the names, but it exports the animation all the same. So now I have to remember how to import it. I think it's, okay, yeah, if you turn off the mesh, then it knows it's an animation. Okay, cool. That was it then. We don't want convert scene. And that should do it. Okay, so I'll just hit import. I'm going to pause it. It takes. All right, here we go. It is done. Let's crack it open. And it should just be the same thing, but reversed. Is this it? Vaporgram 2. Okay, cool. Yeah, the names aren't too hot, but that's it. Okay, so now I should theoretically, after that, be able to specify this animation here. Vaporgram 2, and then we'll set it to close and try it out. And that should do what I want. Also, yeah, that works. That was it. Also, the control rig, I could probably just do simple animations like that without leaving the system. I haven't quite gotten confident enough with it yet and triggering certain behaviors and things just yet, but I think that'll be coming. That's what we're going to want to do in the future, because animating outside and bringing it in is okay, but I would like to do more physics-based stuff. For something as small as this, though, that little menu table animation, I don't know, I'm not going to go overboard with it. I'll save the complicated stuff for the ships, but yeah, that's it. So that's how we reversed animation. It's way more tedious than I could have imagined. It wasn't as simple as the set rate -1 as suggested on forums and stuff. So it was a little bit more involved, just involved exporting an animation. But with Houdini, it didn't take that long. So because I have my top net set up and just had to, invert my formula there. Oh, that's it.